Hey, and welcome back to the channel. This is going to be the final video on the Porsche Cayman S. So for this one, we're going to do a breakdown of costs, how much it costs to buy the car, the fees involved in that from Copart, and then everything to get it into the state it is now.
And what an amazing car this turned out to be. I am so glad I ended up taking the plunge buying this Porsche. At first, from the photos, it kind of put me off a little bit, but I'm so glad I pushed myself, and seeing the end result, it is amazing.
Total and honest transparency here. This is exactly all the costs. This isn't made up, straight to the point. All the bodywork parts are genuine Porsche bits. They've just been from eBay or salvage breakers. So let's start with the obvious, the car cost itself. So the car cost me £4,300. That was the auction hammer price. With all the Copart fees on top, that actually totaled to £4,957 and 60p. So a £657 fee on top of the hammer price. So just bear that in mind when you buy these cars. I then had to pay delivery on top of that to get it from the auction site to the unit. So that cost me £260. Next up was the windscreen. That was damage from the airbag going off. And the windscreen, £480. When the car arrived, it had a flat battery. Been standing around at an auction site for ages, I'm guessing. So that needed to be replaced, and that cost me £95. So the main cost was obviously the damage to the right-hand front. So to repair all of that with the Porsche bits, that includes the bumper, the wing, indicators, headlight bracket, painting those parts, the radiator, the ducting, all of that come to £1,297. When it comes to the inside of the car, I ended up replacing the dash because of that airbag popping off and hitting that screen. So dash, airbag, both seatbelt tensioners and belts were replaced. The crash module also had to be done. Also, the steering wheel airbag had gone as well. To get all the inside bits done, that came to a total of £735. I obviously replaced the head unit as that was missing with a Apple CarPlay one. That came to a total of £240 by the time I had got a different adapter for the harness to allow it all to function correctly. And arguably my favourite purchase was the exhaust system. So the back box unit bolts on directly to the headers. That was £250 used, delivered to my door, an absolute bargain. The final costs were all the service related parts. So replacing the radiator earlier on, like I said, I then had to fill it with coolant, and that takes a lot. So coolant, I did oil and filter change, brake fluid change. I checked the air filter, that was okay. I then replaced the spark plugs, little things like wiper blades because it had a brand new windscreen as well. A couple of bulbs around the car, front and back around the number plate. And then when I was driving the car, I've put 1,300 miles on it now. I ended up replacing the horns. I started getting a charging warning light. The car was charging, but not as efficiently as it was. So I ended up replacing the alternator bushes. At the same time, I did the auxiliary belt for peace of mind. It actually ended up being an earth wire that had corroded down on the rear right-hand side of the chassis. So I replaced that as well. And also whilst driving, I realized that the AOS, which is their air oil separator valve, had failed, so it was firing some oil into the air intake system, so I ended up replacing that valve system as well. Total cost for the service bits and all that stuff I have mentioned was £350. So the total cost of this car, £8,664 and 60p. So the question is, was it worth it? Well, 100% yes. This one was a lot more in depth than my first one, with the airbags and interior pieces, as well as some chassis stuff. So how much is this car worth? Well, looking on eBay and other sites of similar category cars, it's kind of all over the place at the moment, anywhere from 10,000 to 8,000. If I can sell it for around the price of the cost to repair this car, I'm happy enough. It's all an experience, and to build this channel and experience for myself personally repairing these things. I would love to make a profit, but I have to be realistic here. It's a tough market at the moment. It is starting to pick up. It is springtime now, so hopefully a car like this, maybe a weekend car, will attract someone to buy it. Looking back at this Porsche, could have done it slightly cheaper, but I wouldn't have done it any other way personally. I wanted an exhaust on it to give it an extra sporty note. I wanted it to be a little bit more modern inside with a touchscreen and CarPlay to connect to your phones, because everyone wants to do that these days with your Spotify and your Apple Music. A couple of weeks ago, I ended up using my dad's little Alfa Romeo to do a track day. Original intentions was to use this, but with it being up for sale and complete, I just didn't want to risk anything with it in case I ended up stacking it. If you haven't seen that video, check it out right here now. Overall, this little Porsche is ready to go to its new owner, and they're gonna thoroughly enjoy it because it is a cracking car. What's next for the channel? I do not know at this moment. I have my eye on various things and various projects. We'll just have to see how it goes with this being sold and how much money I have to fund the next project. So that's going to be the end of the journey for the Porsche Cayman now. As always, thank you very much for watching these videos. If you haven't seen any of the Porsche videos, check them out here. As I've said before, give us a like, comment and subscribe. That will continue to help grow this channel, and that will help contribute to funding further projects, so I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.